We appreciate you guys joining us. So, Travis, do you want me to kick this thing off? Do you want me to run my mouth? What would you like me to do? Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and run my mouth just real quick. We're already a couple minutes late, and I apologize. Thank you guys so much for joining us, especially depending on what time zone you're in at the end of the day. This was born out of certainly with Flake moving to Banner. We thought it was a good time. There's a ton of new stuff for the Smart Pro, and we actually had a national sales meeting at ILCO AD, and where your product managers were doing presentations. And Tony has certainly made this presentation his, but for the most part, this was the presentation that we got by Todd Adams, the automotive product manager, and like this is exactly what Travis and I had been talking about. Just kind of going through the menus of the Smart Pro, talking about the new stuff, maybe some features somebody doesn't know about. Hey, why don't I see my tokens? Well, you have to plug into the car. So there's just some things like that that we wanted to put together, and that's what we're going to do, as well as talk about some of the new stuff, certainly from AD. So appreciate you guys. We're already late. I'll stop talking. Tony, do your thing, brother.
Okay, just want to make sure because I've been rusty with Zoom. So everyone's seeing the screen saying ILCO Automotive Product Update.
Yep.
Okay, good. Okay, I'm going to jump right into this because I have a tight schedule today, and I do want to thank, as Kevin did, first I want to thank the host, Travis, and the Banner Solution Group for this opportunity, and Kevin for driving the bus on this and making this happen. So the fine folks at Summit Security, and then all of you that are tapping into this today. So real quick, there's some stuff that's redundant. There's some stuff that's new that we want to make sure that all existing Smart Pro owners and users know about and should know about. And if there's any questions, we'll field as many as we can. Those that we can't, especially high-end technical, we'll get an answer for you. So I'm going to go through these slides. Hopefully it'll open up some questions. Travis, if I heard you right, or if I didn't hear you, are we taking questions by Q&A, raise hand, or are we taking them verbally?
So, I think chat would be the best, but if you have a longer, if anybody has a longer question and you don't want to chat it, raise your hand and we'll unmute you. Sure. I thought this was set up so everybody could unmute themselves, but it looks like I have to unmute.
Okay.
Or any one of the hosts can unmute.
Perfect. So hopefully, so these slides will open up your mind to some things that's going on already, and some things that we've just started to crack open and have you guys have the opportunity to use with the Smart Pro. I always start off a lot of sessions with My Keys Pro. So most of you hopefully already know about the app and have it downloaded either on your phone, laptop, or iPad. There are two versions of My Keys Pro. So I kind of go through these slides of what it looks like. Hopefully most of you are already navigating through this, have it, and you're navigating through it. The two versions are, there's a free version that has pretty basic information, make, model, and year to look at. And also we are encompassing a number of other product lines throughout the ILCO and AD lines. So if you need to know about a certain key machine, you can find it here in My Keys Pro. Primary source though information is about the vehicles and how you go about them with the Smart Pro. This is not a full-blown step-by-step manual. For that, you obviously would turn to your manual. That's the credit card type card that comes with each Smart Pro that has a thumb drive on it. So if you need step-by-step, but for most that have been experienced with the machine or key programming, this is really your roadmap, make, model, and year. And now you can drill down on even photos, as you see here, and all of the information, what key, what system, what you're going to be up against. And there's tips and hints. Now, this again coincides with what you should be seeing on your Smart Pro. On the information side of the screen, when you go into make, model, and year, we call that the non-money making side, the information side, which is the left, your money making side, which is on the right. Smart Pro screen. So you really want to pay attention to this. Now, for those of you that do a lot of vehicles and you want just more bells and whistles, you want access to training videos, tutorials, stuff like that, that's quick and easy. You want a quick summary of the vehicle as you go into it. Then there is a subscription level. I think it runs around $9-10 a month that allows you that access to just more information on the vehicle itself and more perks and videos and stuff like that. Okay. So there's standard and then there's premium. And we even have a 30-day trial period if you want to give that a try on the advanced tools and resources that you have on the premium application. We also tie that in with the YouTube channel, which is very popular. And some of these bullet points here that describe what you would see in our YouTube channel. Hopefully all of that are listening in have from time to time tapping into the YouTube channel to see the latest and greatest of videos of where we're going, especially like some of the newer stuff out, Mercedes, Volkswagen, which I'm going to talk about here in the slides ahead. Let's talk about Volkswagen. This cable, 219, actually has been around in the Advanced Diagnostic lineup of product for some time now. And it's come into full swing here now with the free update on software 2292, one of 74 loads of software that we have in our lineup. And with this cable, we call it the instrument cluster cable. Connection points on that. The videos on this are very good, but you do need this cable if you want to originate keys, all lost key situation, which is really good money for those out there that you guys know of when you're tackling Volkswagen. This is a money-making type vehicle, the opportunities to have it. The 2292 software has been out for some time now. It's one of our newer softwares, but it's been out for a while, and it does have a good range of coverage on Volkswagen. It's first started out with add key only, and now with this 219 cable, the update that is free on this. So you want to make sure that you are keeping your Smart Pro updated. The current app, core app right now is 3.04, and we're soon to be going to 3.11, 3.11. That's not yet out, but pay attention. That'll be coming out probably in the weeks ahead, probably right after Thanksgiving. Between Thanksgiving and Christmas, you'll see that 3.11 core app come out. So take note of that. You guys should be updating your Smart Pro probably on I would say every 10-day basis. Tech support would say probably every week. But I think if you do it at least a minimum of every 10 days, you're probably in pretty good shape on that. But this cable is due to COVID, it's limited. I don't even believe we have any in stock right now. But this cable would be needed if you want to address Volkswagen and all keys lost. Take a look at the videos on it when you get a chance. But I really wanted to get a shout out to you guys on this and what it's capable of doing. There's a cut sheet on it. Travis and the fine folks at Banner Summit Security can forward you a cut sheet on the models that we're covering, and this cable would be involved in. Okay. Jumping over to Mercedes-Benz, this is one of our newest softwares that has been released. And instead of, I don't know if any of you listening in have tackled a job yet on this. As anything new, we're working through some bugs. But this has been a very good inroad to a high-end vehicle line. And we're attacking that through a special cable, as you can see on this screen. This is the 260 cable. And in essence, you're going to purchase or make the investment in the cable. And along comes with it two proprietary keys, pod keys, as they call them. The pod Benz 4B1, as you can see in the slide here. There's two that come with the cable as your initial investment. on that. You can order more keys as you go along, but these are proprietary and they work with the Smart Pro software along with that cable. So this is another accessory that we've added to open up the door in programming Mercedes-Benz. Notice the year coverage there going all the way back to mid-90s, 96, up to 2014. So a very large range of coverage on these vehicles.
Tony, did you see the question there from Bruce?
Go ahead. Yeah, once I get going focused on the screen, stop me if there's a question.
Will this cable pull the 7th byte of the CS data?
For the Volkswagen.
Will this cable do anything with Volkswagen? No.
No,
Not
I'm
this
talking about
cable,
the
Mercedes.
no, I'm talking about the prior slide you had. You had a
prior
Volkswagen
slide.
cable up there. Yes. Yeah, I raised my hand. I can't do it in the software, so I raised my hand on the screen.
Yeah, let me go back on that. Whoops. On this 219 cable, ask that one more time. Sorry.
Will it put a 7th digit of the CS data, the 7th byte of the CS data? I see it'll bypass the security pin, but most Volkswagens I do, you got to have the CS data and the security pin.
Yeah, I'm going to write that one down. I'm pretty sure it does, but before you quote me on that, I'll do a fact check on that and I'll get back to you tomorrow on that. I won't have time in this session today, but
I'll just bug Kevin about it. That's fine.
That's fine. I'm down.
There you go. Yeah. On that, I'm pretty sure it does.
Okay.
But I'd stop short. I don't do a lot of Volkswagens myself, so I'd want to fact check that with R&D before I tell you yes, it does.
Is that a pogo pin on that cable between the blue cluster and the OBD part? Is that a pogo pin? Okay.
Yeah, and there's some very good videos that are going to show you connection points and how it's connected. So
all right, cool.
I would definitely take advantage of the videos that we have on this.
Okay.
Okay, so with that being said, let's jump forward here. We don't give enough shout out to the aerial, which has also been in our lineup for some time now. So the smart aerial, for those of you that have this, I did learn something and I put it in, I highlighted it at the bottom. I learned this here not too long ago, and I thought it was useful information in any kind of presentation, is that in the infinite wisdom of our UK engineers, which are second to none, they put a slot, they molded a slot on the backside of the Smart Pro where you could see that handles or positions for the smart aerial. But we have found in field operation that could cause some interference, especially because the Smart Pro is obviously plumbed with Wi-Fi. So I learned here recently that for successful, continuous, reliable, I should say, pre-coding and use of the Smart Pro is detach it, do not slot it on the backside of the Smart Pro. You have enough cable that it comes with to get it positioned a bit away from the machine. That really goes for anything. As you guys know, doing proximity, you can get, your cell phone can interrupt or interfere with the process. So you want to try to isolate or separate, I should say, these type of situations or the equipment in these type of situations so that you get reliable and successful programming procedures on that. But the aerial has been out for some time now, and it's really made its impact recently with the onslaught of, or the development, I should say, of Volkswagen and Audi. So the 2292 software we were talking about here just a minute ago, this comes into play. You're going to see this in the application, MyKeys Pro. You're going to see it mentioned in tips and hints or notes on your Smart Pro. So you want to make sure that you are paying attention to this accessory, because it is that, and that I think even if Travis didn't mention, Kevin, we secured some discounts for the folks that are attending today and viewing this session. And that takes in the aerial and the actual adapter. Now, that doesn't get talked about a lot either, but there is an adapter. It's ADC 222 is the part number for anybody taking notes. It's not pictured on this slide, but it has a little toggle switch. It connects to the end of your main cable and then connects into the OBD port of the Volkswagen or the vehicle. In this case, because when you do pre-coding for Volkswagen or Audi, you're going to be prompt to to turn the ignition on. And obviously with the key in the aerial that you're trying to pre-code, that's not possible to do physical wise. So that adapter allows you to force the ignition on and you to continue the procedure of pre-coding. Pre-coding is important for you guys to save money. You turn to Banner Solutions, a fine distributor for automotive, and they have keys that they can distribute to you that are uncoded. There's less money involved than having to go buy one from a dealer, and allowing you to pre-code that key and program it into the vehicle. So very important on that. Also, it reads chips. It's going to act as somewhat like a cloner. And there will be some more functions coming soon on this. Our engineers are working hard to give this more, I would say, more power, more capability. So I really, again, wanted to make sure that you guys are paying attention to the smart aerial and what it is doing now and what we plan to hopefully be doing with it soon here. EEPROM, I'll just kind of throw that out here. I don't have all the details yet, but we are working on positioning ourselves better and to take on more high-end type vehicles. Pre-coding, here's some of the short lineup, but important one that you can make a lot of money off and should be seeing on a regular basis, including BMW. Here's some other applications on that, right down to the model and years. So you see BMW 04 to 10 series there, 1 through 6. The Fiat family, as I call it, Dodge, Mitsubishi, just the Eclipse Cross. It's the only one that I've come across, and you can find that again in My Keys Pro. It's noted very bluntly there, very obvious that you'll see it noted for pre-coding and the aerial. And then the Volkswagen Beetle. Actually, out of this group, the Beetle is the only one that I've done, and you will use the 222 adapter, as I was mentioning, 6 through 10. Did several of those back some time ago now, but very simple process. If you can read and comprehend, follow the prompts, it does a fantastic job on those Beetles. I wanted to talk about the 2011 cable. Now, again, this has been out for a while, but we have expanded, as you can see in this list of applications that's below there. Maserati, we picked up another Ram pickup. There's 18 through 21, Jeep Gladiator. Some of the new stuff that we're doing, obviously Dodge, Jeep, Chrysler has taken on the Fiat way of things, and from 18 on, you're not usually connecting to an OBD port. Some of these can be pretty tough. I think I have a slide on the Dodge Journey. I don't know if anybody's done a Dodge Journey as of late. There's some tips I'm going to give on that. I think that's on the next slide here. Right here, this is a Dodge Journey. If you run up against this vehicle, it's a very tough position on the star module port that's circled there. And I put the arrow facing inwards to the center of the vehicle. And you notice that this is where this actually is. If I could blow this picture up a little bit bigger, this is the back row of passenger seats on the driver's side. And that plastic molding that you see bent out there, and I don't travel, not being a locksmith, I don't travel with air wedges. So I had to improvise and use an 80-30 case. And this was before I learned a tip from R&D on this, that there is a small set screw behind this row of seats on the wall in a concaved area. There is one Phillips head screw that's capped, so you don't see it. It's not exposed. You have to pop that cap to get to it. And then if you take that Phillips screw out, it does loosen up that section of wall a bit, not a lot. I had my last one that I had, it didn't loosen it up very much at all. And so you'd really want to use an air wedge, a small air wedge, when tackling this job. And the other tip here too, guys, if you haven't been in one of my classes, is that the 2011 cable, let me go back to it. On that white tip, the connection port to the point to the side to the SPAR module, we put a locking tab on that tip, and that really can pose a problem with jobs like the Journey. And so it's been mentioned to me internally, and I will leave it with you guys externally on this, is that I would do yourself a favor and clip that locking tab off that tip. That, if you guys have been running with the 2011 cable, if I had a close-up of it, it runs on a track. So there's very little loose or sloppy fit to that connection. Once you get that in, once you put that in, and if you keep the locking tab on, you're going to be probably needing some long nose pliers, and you're going to be wasting time disconnecting from the vehicle, and time is money. So do you guys a favor, and I would, if you have 11 cable, if you haven't already clipped that locking tab off there, please do so. Okay. Its brother is the 2012 cable. And you can see it has a much smaller application list. Popular one though is that Jeep Compass. That's a heavy fleet vehicle. And as the rental car companies come back from the hibernation of COVID and the grip of that, they're starting to fill up. I'm seeing it as I travel now. Rental car, at least airport rental car lots are filling up. And these cars obviously turn within a year and they go to the street. So you're going to see these Jeep Compasses, and that's a very unique setup. Take a look at that. There's some pictures on, again, the MyKeys Pro app, but there's also some excellent videos on that. And the connection point way in the back between the headliner and the roof of the vehicle. And this cable fits neatly. It takes you longer actually to connect to the vehicle than it does to program the key. I'm going to waste a lot of time on some of these screens. You guys already know them, but I did have some notes here with the Mercedes. There was a question here recently about, it was done by email, about VIN numbers and the matching or identifying of VIN numbers on Mercedes models. And it's a little bit cumbersome for the US and the way that Mercedes does that for the models running in the US. And the frustration on that is that you do have to decode that. And there is a website out. There's probably several of them for decoding VIN. One that I think of is driving-test.org. So probably a few of you have already tried that, but if not, you can Google VIN decoding, and there's several of them out there. But you will run into that on the Mercedes. So that's another tip that I want to make sure that you guys are aware of. And when you go to tackle Mercedes. Plus the beta team is testing right now some of the last bits of quirkiness on Mercedes. And that's where you'll see the 311 core app come out. So again, can't emphasize enough to make sure that you're updating the machine on a regular basis, because that's where we find things in the field and we fix them. And the only way that we can do that is by, a lot of it is by your guys' feedback. So I encourage as much feedback as you can. I know the machine automatically presents that to you, prompts it on the screen. Sometimes that can be annoying for those of you that are going and doing a lot of jobs per day. You can disable that if you want in settings, but the feedback is important. You guys are really our eyes and ears out there at times. You see a lot of different situations that we just can't simulate completely with even the beta team that we have. So we do appreciate that feedback, whether it's given to Summit and the folks there, whether it's given to the fine folks at Banner Solution, or directly to myself or to some team member on the AD Ilco side. Okay. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on home screen unless somebody's got a question there. The reason why that programming icon is never lights up when you turn the machine on, it doesn't come active until you connect to the vehicle. Pay attention to your, obviously, if you're managing by tokens, this machine spells all of that out for you. And there is obviously other areas where you can find that too. I do want to drill down on Wi-Fi, as that's been a big plus for us in the feature of Smart Pro. Unlike the MVP and TICO days, Wi-Fi brings a lot of quick, easy use and ways to update your machine faster, get the information just faster, and having that in the field is a very big plus and very big benefit. But you have to make sure when to use Wi-Fi and make sure that you're connected properly. As you can see in these screens here, it's going to pick up a lot of hotspots out there, and you got to pay attention to that. This next screen here, where you see the red circle, is identifying that the machine is fully connected to Wi-Fi. I think customers, a lot of times, even existing customers have been running for a while, they can overlook this quickly. And if you don't have those, what I call those 3 white dashes from machine icon to the Wi-Fi icon to the world, and then to the final one there is the full connection of Wi-Fi. If you don't have that, if you only have 2 of those dashes, then you're not fully connected. And I've seen more times than not where customers get frustrated and end up calling tech support. So it's very important that you guys understand that. And we've made some huge gains in that. There was quirkiness with Wi-Fi at the start, but over the time of development and adjustments and core app adjustments on the board of the machine, this has really started to come into its own and is really doing well in the field. Updates, as I mentioned down there below, you should all be running at 3.0.4. We'll be soon going to 3.1.1. As soon as beta gives thumbs up, beta group gives thumbs up on that, that will take place. Each core app that we develop or we release is fixing stuff that's out there that's been giving us problems. And with 74 loads of software, the most in the industry, believe me, we have our challenges. The auto manufacturers do not like to make things easy for us, and therefore they don't like to make it easy on you. We are in a constant development stage and revising stage, and that's why it's important with the Smart Pro is to do your updates. You got to do your updates. Otherwise, you run the risk of going out to some of the newer vehicles like these Volkswagens, the Mercedes. You run the risk of going out there, even newer Fords, and not being successful, being frustrated. And that's, we want to eliminate that as much as possible. Obviously, the vehicles, as I've always said in presentation mode, they're like humans. They come in all shapes and sizes and they have history. And so you have to realize what you're up against. And again, going back to My Keys Pro app, there's a lot of information before you even get to the car, the vehicle, that you should be aware of and know with tips and hints what you're in for. It will save you time, and time is money. So again, this presentation today is just re-emphasizing the tips and things to do the job properly, and what equipment we're going with at this point in time to do so.
Let me jump in here, man. If we were going to beat to death any slide, this is it. If any of y'all have ever called me or anybody on my team, hey man, I thought I'd call you before I called tech support. Let me ask you, I mean, the first thing I'm going to ask is, when did you update your machine? And I'm very sad to say that quite often you get silence or you get, and update your machine. Yeah, but here's the thing, specifically with the core app, it doesn't always tell you, hey, by the way, man, and anytime we have a core app update, we get the word down to the distributors get the word out to y'all, but man, we're all humans and we're all moving fast. We don't get an email. We don't, see it. If you skip a core app update and it's critical, something could happen at a later date if you wait months and hey, what's wrong with my machine? Well, what's your core app? Well, I'm 2.1 and it's like, man, you got to send your machine in. So avoid all that. Do your updates. Thanks. That's all I had on that.
It's very important.
Tony, we got a question. When will the new Ford update come out for the 2021 plus?
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, they're working on it right now. I think that's, I don't have a definite date for you, but if I was a betting man and I've been known to gamble, I would say we would see this at some point mid part of next month. So stay tuned on that. That's a great question. We've got several we have several in the hopper right now that I can think of. GM, Toyota, the newer Ford on that. And those are all big, what I call big six type development. So yeah, we're looking to go above the 74 mark of software here before the end of the year. How far, I don't know yet. They like to keep us guys in sales kind of in the dark until they got the bows and ribbons ready on stuff. So, but excellent question. I do think we are close on a couple of major ones for that matter. The other thing, I wanted to go back to that question on Volkswagen and the 219 cable. Because as I went back through some of my notes here, it does state, and it actually states this from, I believe, the cut sheet also, that there is no guarantee on that the OEM does not update or change the security, which is beyond our control. Success, though, has been near 100%. So that question, I don't know if that fully answers your question, but for the most part, we've had excellent success in the security pins, but there are obviously some gaps. Now, we will definitely get the answer on that. I would like you, because I'm in a rush today to catch a flight later, if you could, whoever asked that question, if you could email me that so I don't miss, I wrote some quick notes here so I fully understand what you're asking. If you could email that to me, and my email address is really simple. I'll give it to you all, you guys, verbally here. It's my first name, Tony, Tony, @adusa.us. It's been that way for about 15 years now. So if you have any questions that come up even after this presentation or don't get answered here verbally today, please send me what you got. And if I don't know the answer, I'll find someone who does. Okay. This aerial, again, here's some of the things that it can do other than just pre-coding. And you have to make sure now, this is going to come up. It'll throw you into an update, which there on the screen takes about 8 minutes. It'll feel like 25 minutes, but it's really only about, it's actually probably closer to 6 minutes. So, but this again goes in line with what, just like Kevin was, pounding here, is that update, update, update. Make sure that it's free. It just takes a few minutes. And the more that you do that in routine, the less chance you have of being in a bad situation where once you stack, let me go back to that screen. Once you stack the screen here, if you can see the inset, if you get busy with other things, safes, access control, and automotive now jumps out at you, and you haven't updated, you haven't pulled your machine out of the case or out of the van for a couple of weeks, you want to make sure if you've stacked up a lot of updates where you can see in that inset where it says 2 updates up there at the update icon, if you've got say 22 or 35 or whatever, a large number, you want to just go in and grab like one. Obviously I want to grab Ford Australia, if you can see that one. I'd grab, Chrysler or something. Grab one piece of software and do the update. Otherwise, it's kind of like pouring a 5-gallon bucket of water into a small funnel. You'll be there for a while if you let it, because it'll default. If you guys don't already know this, it'll default and grab everything. So you need to adjust and make sure that you only pick one, get that one in, and that will drag along the core app. And once the core app is up to date, up to level, then you can go back and grab the rest. So it's a kind of a 2-step process in that updating scheme that will actually save you time. Even though you're doing 2 steps, it'll be quicker in the total amount of time. But the main thing is just don't get that far behind. I know life is busy. We get shoved in many different directions, but you want about every 10 days, you want to be updating this machine, either by Wi-Fi or connecting it to your desktop or laptop. I prefer to alternate. I like to, if I'm in office, I'll hook it to my laptop. And if I'm on the road, like I'm going to be here tonight, I'll do Wi-Fi. As long as I get those connection points and I can verify that, the Wi-Fi has been really good at updates. Okay.
Tony, you wanted me to time check you. It's 1:45 to the hour.
Yeah, I'm going to fly through some of these because these screens here, I think we have a mature audience for the most part.
Easy now.
So guys that are, mature, meaning that you guys are experienced with the Smart Pro, been using it. Not like Kevin. He's over there smiling.
Hey, I'm mature. Ask anybody.
Anyway, I'll kind of go through these. Stop me if something jumps out at you that you need a question on. But again, the aerial does more than just pre-coding. You can identify chips. There's some things there that you want to make sure that you can do, and that should help you when needed. Make sure too, I've had customers say that, oh, I did an update and now my screen looks different when I go to select vehicle. If that's happening, what's happened is it's defaulted back to all region. Remember, we're a global company. These machines come in from the UK to us. They're all set for all region, as you see here on the screen. So you want to make sure that you dial that in correctly. There's another tip here on this is make sure that you are managing your tool through My Smart Pro, whether you're managed by time, token, software. That's, basically the gas tanks that we have. We actually have 4 gas tanks, as I call them. One that doesn't get talked about a lot. In this screen here, you see the 24-hour orange dot. That's a 24-hour, it's a 5-day, 24-hour pass. It's sold for a couple $100 on the market. Talk to your fine folks at Banner Solutions about this option, because for those of you that ran an MVP, you probably knew, if you didn't, you had 5 emergency tokens. Still to this day, MVPs, if you're operating with one as a backup, still has a 5 emergency token cloud sitting out there. And if you ran your machine to 0, you could tap that 5 emergency. And back in the day, I go back dating myself now, we would penalize you. It'd cost you 2 for every emergency token you used. We did away with that. It's a 1-for-1, but nevertheless, it's an emergency token, and it's there if you just ran late on a Friday and realized, or your technician realized, oh man, I ran out of tokens, which shouldn't happen, but it does. This emergency 5-pack now for the Smart Pro, we don't have the emergency 5 on Smart Pros anymore like we do the MVP, but we do offer, which doesn't get talked about a lot, so I wanted to make sure I drilled down on this real quick, is that this option is out there. I call it the 4th gas tank. And it's a great safety net, especially if you're bringing on new business, a new technician, say you got a kiosk or a auto, you're doing business with a couple of used auto lots, and they call you over for a half a day. You send a technician over there. They didn't give you a list of vehicles. You don't know what's going to get thrown at you. This would be a perfect time. It can get you out of a jam. The way this works though, the minute you plug into your first vehicle, if you call for this option, it runs on time. It's a 24-hour clock. So the minute that you plug in and do a job, the clock starts ticking. You have 24 hours to do as much work as you can. Obviously, if you need to get out of a serious jam and you're doing a Volkswagen you can run up, a $300, $400, $500 bill or charge on that for revenue for the job, then go ahead and do it. That'll cover a couple of these and more. But it's really meant to use specifically in situations where it makes sense. But it is the 4th gas tank out there that a lot forget about. So I wanted to make sure you guys understand that. Okay. My Smart Pro, the unlimited plan, and it tells you right there. Actually, this date, that emoji calendar with the date comes up on the main screen. I call it the dashboard. As soon as you fire your machine up, if you're in an active unlimited time plan, then token plan, I should say, then you see this date. There's no confusion of when you expire. And that's set to the second in your time zone that you operate the machine in. So do yourself a favor, do the fine folks at Banner Solution a favor, the fine folks at Summit Security, everyone involved here, do yourself a favor and make sure that you're properly managing your machine and you understand where you're at all times. You can do that with My Smart Pro and looking at where you're at, how many tokens you have, how much software you have, how much time you have. Okay? Because once you expire, then the hair fire starts. And it normally happens late on a Friday afternoon. And that's not good. Unless Travis tells me they're going to start working weekends. Kevin, I don't think we've been working weekends in this industry very, very much. And I don't think we're going to start. So
I work 24 hours a day. You need to speak for yourself.
I know you do. But so you guys can all call Kevin.
Well, I didn't say I answered the phone. I said I worked 24 hours.
Okay, but you see that even in that screen, right down to the second on the date when you're going to expire. So there's really no excuse for guys that, run themselves to the last minute. And then, obviously they've got jobs in front of them that machine stops. But if you put a little gas in another tank, like those 5 days of 24-hour option, that gives you a safety net. So I kind of tie that back into, again, understanding how to manage your machine and be set up to where, hey, if something goes haywire, something happened, your technician didn't pay attention or what, you just got busy, you've got a backup plan with the same device. Okay. And that's what we have basically designed here. There's software purchases. I don't have to explain much on that. You're going to either see a blue check or red X. If you have a red X on that software and you believe you own it and you bought it from the fine folks at Banner Solution, then you need to go back to Banner Solution and figure out why that is a red X. They will get with us. We'll figure it out. And usually can be quickly resolved. But this is how you manage your tool. If you've got the blue check mark, you own it. And you should be able to see this. We also allow the fine folks at Banner and even Summit Security there, what's called radar. So with a serial number, they can quickly check where the machine's at record-wise. So make sure that you share that information. You're using Banner Solution. They should have your serial number on record so that they can make sure they can help you quickly, especially to resolve any kind of an issue that may be out there that's not matching up. Okay? We see this from time to time. No valid license available. If you see this, the gas tank is empty. You either have no tokens, if you're managing by token, you have no 24-hour time, you have no subscription available. This is another one where you start with the distributor. Fine folks at Banner, they usually can sort this pretty quick. They may have to get us on the horn or get us involved, but we get on it really quick and make sure that it's fixed. A lot of times it may just say, you know, you just didn't get the order in with Banner, and you got to do that. It takes 2 business days for a virtual order to process fully through the distributor to us and then release. I would say in this fine group that we have today, we normally do that in 24 hours, but I cannot guarantee that. So don't anybody, I think you're recording this, Travis, I will say on the backside of that, that's not a guarantee. That's what we strive for, 24-hour turnaround, but that's not a guarantee. And now we're getting into the holiday season. You want to make sure that you plan properly ahead in the management of your machine and what you need, okay? Vehicle selection. Some old timers that may be listening in, you have the chance, you probably learned how to search by system. You can do that. You can still do that on a Smart Pro today. And tech support might lead you down that path in a certain situation where you're struggling with a certain vehicle in the field. That could happen. And where you see that is you just toggle that over. As you noticed in this screen, you toggled over from the vehicle silhouette there to the engine. And now you're seeing all the system types for that Honda. And you may need to go and specify type 13. I'll just use that for an example. And hopefully that makes sense. You may find that from time to time, okay? So that's an important tip to know. And you have your search bar there. Then this just really kind of ties them all together. So you got vehicle information. This is where I say this is the non-money making information side that ties directly to our app, MyKeys Pro. This coincides together. So what you see here, you will see in the app and vice versa. But it's very important because if you are separated from your machine, go to your app. You're going to see the same type of photos. You're going to see the same type of information, the tips and hints, all of that. And it's very important because you can't prepare yourself more than using this when you get to a vehicle or before you get to a vehicle. Love pictures. Can't say enough about them. Make sure you got the right car, especially like F-150 trucks. There's so many different trim styles to F-150s. And that could lead to a different key, could be a mobilizer system. You've got to pay attention to that. If you're in the heartland, you know, from Houston to Minneapolis, you'll probably get your share of F-150s. But it goes for a number of vehicle lines. Make sure you've got you're in front of the right vehicle. Make sure you look at and you have the right key, and pointing out areas of, you know, where that learning slot is, where the OBD is positioned, or star module. In the case of Dodge, Jeep, or Chrysler, this all can be helpful information. Again, the app, you don't even have to have your machine handy. Not going to spend much time on this, it's self-explanatory. Remember, yeah, as you know, if you're going from job to job, you're going to have to disconnect. Our Smart Pros, unlike T codes and MVPs, stay on. If you got it powered up, it's going to stay on. So as you grab a software, whatever software you grab, you know, if it's Ford and you go to it and your next job is a GM, it's like a library book. You got to put the library book back, and you're going to pull the GM book, and you're going to open it up and start reading or doing the job in this case. Okay. So make sure that you understand that.
Library books? They still have those?
You go to
They still have
library
those?
book. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, favorites. Let me give you a tip on this one, guys. For a long time, I've been preaching how, oh, you know, we archive jobs. You see it on the screen where you do a job, it will hold 20 of your previous jobs, and then it'll start kicking out old to new. And then we said, well, you know, you can make those favorites with that little star circle there. You can make favorites. Oh, you can make as many favorites you want. We're wrong on that. We got corrected, and I don't know, maybe we had that opportunity at one time or capability. We don't now. I was informed here just recently, late last week, that our favorites are limited, just like archiving. They're limited to 20, and you can change them out as you may. So that's another little tip for you on this today. Having favorites though, especially, I'll go back, I'll pick on F-150s. You see a lot of F-150s, or you see a lot of Jeeps for some reason in your area. You do want to make that a favorite. It'll stay in there until you decide you don't want it in there anymore. And instead of having to go through the normal steps of vehicle selection and identifying year and all of that, you go right to favorites and pick it and get going with the job. Time is money. I think I said that already once. I'll probably say it a few more times. And that's what this presentation is about today, guys, is getting you clued in on, hey, this is how you can do jobs faster. This is what you need to do jobs with. Okay. The Obd Port Diagnostic there, free of charge. Pretty simple, straightforward here. We do clear fault codes. I notice them because I do live demonstrations for my presentations. I've been doing them for a long time. And especially I get them on Chrysler, Dodge, or Jeep. If I go take a group out, if I take a couple of groups to the car and I'm taking the key off the system, putting back on, I will stack a fault code. You stack a fault code, you're going to have to get rid of it. I think the next screen here. Yeah, there we go. So you stack a fault code, that comes up. It'll stack up on the screen. You'll see it. There's a standard one that's always there. That doesn't mean anything, but you'll see it. They'll start stacking up below that first one. And then you just hit that trash can. It's going to clear the fault codes on the immobilizer. It doesn't clear any other kind of fault codes. If you got, you know, tire sensor, something going on, then that's something different. But if it's dealing with the immobilizer, fault code stack on you, or maybe you get a car that's already been tampered with a bit or played with a bit, and fault codes are already there. This is where you would quickly go to get around that. Okay. There's a transponder identification. Again, using the aerial, you will see this. Can get you out of jam, can let you know what's going on. There's transponder production, where you see the main players in chips right there listed for you. Some great videos on this, guys. Okay, real quick on some common stuff there. If you're taking notes today, most of this, hopefully you haven't experienced too much of this, but there's a few in there that could come up and hit you. And there's ways around it. We also, for this group today, I didn't put it on the screen, but we also have, we have a recovery mode, steps to recovery mode, that I think that, you know, really everyone should have. If you don't have that, it's a short Word document, instruction step-by-step. Send me an email, send Kevin an email. Heck, send, you know, Travis or your fine representative at at Banner Solution an email. If you want to get that in hand, just in case, never know, have it as backup. We can send that out to you. Okay. More common issues there. They talked about fault codes. They list that in there. Check fuses. You guys are going to tackle Volkswagen because we have more coverage now on Volkswagen. You do know to use. I didn't put it in any of the slides here. I would always be using on Audi Volkswagen the ADC 116 OBD tester. It's a little handheld, fits in the palm of your hand. It's got 2 lights on it, fail or okay. I call it the insurance tool. If you're doing Volkswagen, Volkswagen puts an aftermarket radio from assembly. That has a tendency on line 7 in the OBD connection port to spike and come from that radio. And so you want to make sure plugging in your Smart Pro, a couple $1,000s worth of investment, you want to make sure that you don't smoke your cable, burn it, worse yet, burn your board on your machine. That happens not to be covered under warranty if that's taken place. And we'll know that the minute you plug into a vehicle, we get a certain amount of data. So we'll know the vehicle you plugged into. So do yourself a favor. If you don't have a 116 adapter or OBD2 tester, get one. They're probably one of the most inexpensive items in our product line, and they can save your day. You want to check that. And the way around that is to find the radio fuse, pop it. That's not going to interrupt your ability to program the key. So another tip for you today is make sure that you do that. You're going to tackle Volkswagen, be prepared for those type of situations. Just more common issues to be aware of. Real quick on remotes. I know this is not dealt with the Smart Pro, but we have now gone over 400 SKUs on the lookalike remotes. The fine folks at Banner have the ability to get these to you quickly. And I would be using this site. We have a lot of printed material. Printed material becomes old the minute you print it. Yep. So we have posters, we have catalogs. I say, that's great for, maybe to have over there on your desk, just to look at once in a while, but you want to go right to the site online here that's listed on the screen. You're going to see the most accurate update information on all of those 400 plus SKUs.
Yeah,
right,
we had 70 new SKUs released today.
Yes.
So they're adding stuff all the time, and that ILCO lookalike is awfully cool. That site, I mean, you can see that over there where it says all makes. It's literally a drop down menu. You pick the year, make, and model, and it'll spit the remote at you. It's awfully cool.
Yes, excellent point, Kevin.
Thank you, Tony.
Just a little bit of detail of that. They're showing Chevrolet make, model, and year. Pretty much is what you want on this for viewing, and it'll quickly search and take you right to the key. You'll see a picture of it. You'll see FCC information on that. Remember, the way that this works on FCC is that there's 2 FCC numbers. By law, we have to put our own in the packaging of the key. And then the key has its own. So I can't explain all of the details of that. It's a quirky law, but it's one that we have to adhere to. So the FCC number printed on the key is obviously the one attached to the key. The FCC number printed on the package is one that we have to use by law for packaging purpose. Okay. A little bit more there. There it says where it's required by law. So you are going to be dealing or seeing 2 sets of FCC numbers. Technical support. We'd like to think that we've improved vastly over the years, and we will continue to improve. So feedback on that is always welcome. Whether it's good feedback or bad feedback, it's always welcome. And we have some new management that is really digging down deep and trying to solve, some of the some of the deficiencies we've had in tech support. I'll just leave it at that. But I know for a fact, being with the company as long as I have, it's about as good today as it's ever been. So hopefully you guys are experiencing the same.
As the reps out here on the street, you know, there's three of us, you know, me, Nick, and Christy, and you know, of course, we talk to you guys all the time. We see you in your shops. We get your phone calls, and man, these days it's really nice as the rep in our position to be able to tell somebody, hey, call tech support. If you don't get them, leave a message and they'll call you back pretty promptly. It's nice to be able to do that with confidence. They're doing a great job.
Yep. And I just wanted to throw this one in because I had some work done on my car here recently. And I just, you know, throw it out there that you guys are professionals. All of you that use the AD line, the ILCO line, are out there on the streets, you know, servicing cars, programming keys, you know, do your homework. You know, you're a professional. Are you adequately pricing? Look around, I know you get busy. It's hard to kind of do homework or see what's out there, what you're up against. You usually will find out pretty quick, but take the time to understand where you're at in the pricing game and revenue, because programming keys can be very lucrative. And, you know, you don't want to miss opportunities. Be set up with the right equipment, the right accessories. Take some time, look at the videos, understand, take some courses. We also, hopefully here soon, once COVID lets up a little bit more, I will start again the training, unofficial training ground here in Sacramento, where I'm based, at a very busy auction that hasn't been very busy lately, over a year and a half now. But once it gets rolling again, like the car rental lots, you know, we've had customers come out. It's free. You just have to get there and back. It's your time on you. I usually buy the first meal as a lunch, and you can stay out one day, you can stay out up to 3 days, but you can come to Sacramento with your Smart Pro or without, and you can program a lot of different cars and have a guy overlooking your shoulder that really knows what to expect and how the machine reacts. So that's free education, free training that we have been running for about the last 12, 13 years on that. So, but understand where you're at in their positioning of pricing and your services. That's really all I have. Business quote of the day. I think really fits well for most of us out there, all of us out there in one shape or another. I want to thank you again. I hope these tips and what we covered, especially on the accessories of the aerial, the Mercedes 260 cable, and the proprietary pod keys. You cannot use OEM. It has to be a pod key with that cable. I hope that sinks in. I hope updating, using the machine, management of the machine is hopefully it open up some ears and eyes to where we're at today, where we're going tomorrow with development. We're soon to have several more software hit the streets, and just keep updating, keep letting us know what we're doing wrong, and hopefully
they can let us know what we're doing right too. Geez, man.
Well, yeah, and hopefully what we're doing right.
Jeez.
But I always want to know where we can improve, because, you know, we can. I know we can, and we're trying every day. But I really want to thank those that listened in today. And I want to thank especially Kevin and the Summit Group for driving hard where they can. And Travis, we've known each other for a long time. And the Banner Solution Group for their hosting of this today.
Thanks,
Really
Tony.
appreciate y'all. Thanks everybody. Thanks Tony, Travis. It's all you, brother.